stylish.
What was that?
A pipe is very stylish.
Oh yeah. I need to get me one of them like Sherlock Holmes pipes to smoke out of.
Yeah.
I've got an affiliate deal with Smoke Cartel to where you can get like a whole bunch of cheap. It's like a head shop, but if you like sign up for a membership with my promo code, you get like huge discounts on everything. You can buy like bongs and stuff for $5, and but yeah, I need to order some stuff from there.
Yeah, we are live. Hold on.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Are you in a legal state?
Yeah. Well, right now in Kentucky, it's legal for medical use, but I have a medical card for it, so I'm
okay.
legal.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the best state in the U.S., it's legal, I believe. You know what the best state in the U.S. is?
The best state in the U.S. Let's see. I don't know if I was picking, I would like to be. Well, see, it depends on what metric we're talking about. Because I'd really like to live in like Texas, even though like their government sucks.
Oh.
But California would be an awesome place to live. Chicago, Illinois would be awesome. I even like parts of Ohio. Kentucky's a shithole, though.
I have family in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, Austin's actually where I would go. That's where, there's just a lot of atheist community there. And it's also like the mega church capital of the country. And that's kind of how I started my channel, was covering televangelists and stuff. So,
oh God, that is such a wild thing. It's such a American thing.
Yeah, so I really liked making the videos about televangelists, and they did really, really well. It's how like I got a jump start on my channel. Like my second or third video hit like 20,000 views, and so I kind of got a kickstart from that. But then after a while, I just got burnt out on having to watch their shit. Like listen to all the stupid shit they say, and then boil it down to make a video out of it. I was having to listen to them for hours to make a 20-minute video every week, and I got burnt out on that real quick.
Yeah, it could have been easier to just stream than talk.
I didn't start live streaming until I hit 500 subscribers, and since then I've pretty much only live streamed. I make a few recorded things here and there. Nobody ever watches them, but I still make some videos. My channel is almost right now it's all my shows are political shows now. I pretty much, that's all we do now. Lil from Lil of All Trades is my co-host, and she's just super awesome and a great co-host, and we put together clips every week and do a 2-hour show twice a week. So that's pretty much. How
does that go?
It's doing really well, actually. Like it's growing, and both of our channels are growing because of it. And we usually see like live, our peak viewers are like 30 to 40 viewers, but our average watch time is like 60 minutes, which is insane. So it's doing really well, and we're having fun doing it. We're both happy with how it's going. So so I've been all over the place with atheist content. Like I've done debates. I've debated Kent Hovind and several other creationists, and I've made all the videos about the resurrection and the awful things in the Bible, and I've talked to a number of philosophy bros, creationists, a little bit of everything, and then I've spent a lot of time focusing on the atheist community. So I started like a podcast thing, Grateful to Know God's Broadcast is what it's called, and I have people from the atheist community on and talk to them about what they do, like other than being an atheist, because I think that like in order to normalize it, we have to show that we're more than atheists, so we get on there and talk about all kinds of stuff. But I don't really focus on talking to theists at all anymore. But if they want to, I do. It's kind of like that. But with the political show, I'm just busy with that now, and we try to find people to come join us that want to comment on some of the clips and stuff we pull, and talk to them about why they are interested in these things. Thursday, R and Raw will be on, and going to talk to him about, some of the things that's currently going on. The State of the Union will have happened by then, so there'll be plenty to talk about. And kind of talk to him about the connective tissue between being an atheist activist and then moving into political stuff, and why it's almost necessary in this community to do it.
I think I had a question of how do you feel about the fact that many atheist channels, because back in the day, they say back in the day, there were many people that went through the pipeline of first being, hello, Maya Atkinson.
What's up, Maya?
Is that your viewer?
Yeah. I shared this everywhere, so
Thank you.
there. Hopefully, some people come see us.
Maybe I will gain some viewers.
Mhm.
How do you feel about the fact that many people, yeah, this is a new channel. I have 3 channels. I have one channel for gaming and slop content, where I react to stupid creators like John Doyle or Sargon of Akkad, or which brings me to that question I'll ask in a moment. This is the channel when I do news, politics, and stuff like that, and conversations like this. And I have a third channel for my interviews and documentaries from the war. That one is called Lucy Haze Films. I can even link those. So my question was, how do you feel about the fact that many people that were debating creationists, that were atheists, kind of moved on to becoming right-wing reactionary hacks?
Well, I've had a few interactions with some of those right-wing hacks.
Like the Sargon of
That's
Akkad I mentioned already.
well, I try to remind my audience often that, like, yeah, we all hang out here and talk about this stuff, but there is like a huge population of right-wing atheists out there that support a lot of awful things, and uh, we had like Thomas Sheedy, who is president for Atheists for Liberty. David Silverman's also on their board. He
Wasn't that
Yeah,
the person
yeah.
who read all those allegations and
Yeah. So he dropped in an open stream one day. I didn't know who he was, and it caused some. I tried to like suss out what was going on with him, but he just kind of rode the fence on me a little bit on it. So I was a little bit suspicious of him. He wouldn't really come out and say his position on anything. And once some people in the audience went and checked him out and stuff, and did a little bit of research and found out, hey, he has said a lot of awful things and publishes a lot of bigoted shit, and like
false allegations, right?
Yeah, so I've had some interaction with some of that group. Atheists aren't. I mean, the only thing we really agree on is that we don't believe a God exists. We're not convinced that God is real. And so, I mean, it makes sense that you're going to have some atheists that hold some really bad ideas and stuff. For me, like, I don't understand how they. I don't understand how they like talk about going through deconstruction and all those things and end up being right wingers, because, like, for me anyway, like the way that it changed that I viewed the world, there's no way that I could support the awful things that the right wing promotes and does to people. The whole 2024 election was focused on scapegoating minority groups, and it's just
immigrant.
Yeah, it was based on creating fear about minority groups and trans people and immigration, and then they wanted to create that boogeyman, and then the call to action came, and there's a lot of hate involved in it. So fear is, not to get all Star Wars on you, but fear leads to hate, and hate leads to the dark side.
The suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard for me to fathom that people that have, came out of religious trauma and stuff would support right wing ideology, but they do, I guess. I don't have many interactions with those. I have some right wing creationists and stuff that come in and argue with me, but I don't ever put them on stream, really. They just argue with me from chat. But yeah, I haven't. Here's the thing. if you're a right winger in the United States and you support the Republican Party, then before we can talk about anything, I need to know why it is you're okay with a group of pedophiles running our government. And
True. Like the Catholic Church, but secular.
yeah. I mean, we've seen this with the Catholic Church, and now, like, and again, that's why it's like weird for atheists, because it's really a Christian nationalist movement they're joining, and it's I don't know, it's crazy. I don't know how they get there.
Yeah, I've been watching a few of those creators recently. Oh, you disconnected?
No, I'm still here. Sorry.
It's like I listened to, I did a checkup on Sargon of Akkad, and he's just being pandering a conspiracy about immigrants and, white replacement, because he's a white nationalist, basically.
Sure. Yeah, the white replacement stuff is I mean, to me, it's important because it's a thing that they heavily promote, but at the same time, it's like one of the stupidest things. It's like the
Yeah.
creationists who said you believe the universe came from nothing. Like it's that kind of thing, and it's that absurd. And unfortunately, though, it's based in xenophobia and racism.
Yeah.
And again, I think most of what they're trying to do is just demonize whole groups of people so that they can create fear, and then have that opposition so that they can do the awful things they're doing. I mean, they're building actual concentration camps across the United States now.
Yeah,
And
apparently a lot of people are missing from the so-called alligator Alcatraz, unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Over 200 people.
Now, see, ever since before Trump even got elected, when everybody was talking about Project 2025, we were screaming at the top of our lungs over there, telling people what was coming. And I've predicted since then that they're not going to pay to house and feed and give medical to these people. There's going to be a genocide, because they do not care. And so I think that these camps are just a way for them to do that. And there's I think it's like 2,000 people missing, over 2,000 missing from Alligator Alcatraz. But the people that they supposedly deported to all these places out of country, we have no confirmation of life of those people, for the most part. Now, some of them they found info on and everything else, but for the most part, we have no idea if those people, what they did with those people, other than what they tell us.
Yeah.
And I don't really trust that. So,
well, they might be dead. But
because that, I mean, I assume the worst from this bunch.
Yeah, because that pander the white replacement thing usually give Poland, my country, as this great example of a country that is all white and great and homogeneous. But in Warsaw, where I live, there's first of all increasing amount of people of color living in Warsaw, and second of all, I don't really care what color, what is the color of the people that live in Poland. Like if Poland became a majority black country, for example, I wouldn't care. I don't care, wouldn't make a difference to me.
Yeah, the United States has a lot of problems whenever it comes to racism and xenophobia. I mean, it's one of the worst things, the ugliest things about this country is the way that we treat minority groups and marginalized folks. It's one of the ugliest things about America.
Yeah, but it's pretty international, unfortunately.
Well, no, I agree. Racism's everywhere, but whenever you look at especially what's going on now with this administration wanting to like whitewash history and erase the whole slavery debacle that we had in our early years, and I think that's a mistake. I think if you want to be patriotic and be proud of your country, then you look back at those things and you celebrate that you got through them somehow, like that you learned some sort of lesson, even if things aren't perfect. Like you moved in a better direction and you were able to overcome certain aspects of that. And so I think it's stupid to try and erase history when it comes to those things. I think you're not even helping your own cause doing it.
Yeah, history is very important. There's an important Polish figure historically that um, Tadeusz Kościuszko that took part in the U.S. Revolution, and when he was leaving the U.S., he said to use his fortune and estate to sell his estate and use all of his money to free the slaves.
I didn't know that story. I
Yeah.
wasn't aware.
There's a statue of Tadeusz Kościuszko, and it was toppled by BLM, and many people were like angry. Oh, how dare you! But there were people that pointed out, what do you mean? He wouldn't care about the statue. He would walk with BLM. He was alive.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. From my perspective, if someone wants to live somewhere, then they effectively become a person from that place, you know?
Yeah, I think that it's contradictory to what America is built on.
Yeah.
To
Yeah, I
we
think
we
so.
I mean, we have an awful bloody history where we came and took land from the native people that were here, and
Yeah.
how we treated those people and continue to treat those people is not great. But America is a country of immigrants. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the whole thing.
Yeah, even if there are people, very huge creators, very unintelligent creators that will say that it's just a slogan. It's true. Asmongold is the
Yeah,
first thing
yeah,
that I
no.
alluded to.
I mean, if you doubt that, go have your DNA done, 23andMe or whatever, and send it in, and you'll see that your your uh, your people came from everywhere else around the world. That there is no such thing other than the natives that were here that we took the land from. There's like the people that are considered Americans are all immigrants, of some sort. It's stupid to try and deny that. And again, it's just like trying to erase history to promote this white supremacist ideology, because I think they're going after immigrants. I think
And
that
asylum seekers. And just
yeah, well, I think that it's they're going after brown people of all types eventually,
always.
and
That's usually
and
the
I think
primary.
a lot of these people support things like eugenics and stuff, and that um, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go after the brown-eyed people after they're done going after the brown people, just because the only way that this hateful movement continues is if they have a boogeyman, if they continue to have people to hate, and that's where this leads. Lil, who does my show with me, is a historian with a specialty in Nazi Germany.
Oh,
And
that would be great to talk. I'm a bit of a
yeah,
historian
yeah, no,
myself.
yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I can set you up with that, or you can come over and talk to us there too if you want. But
Yeah.
the you can look at what's going on, and I mean, step by step, we're following the playbook that took place then. We're doing all the awful things, and so while it is kind of like hyperbolic speech to have uh, people on the left always throwing around the word Nazi and stuff, I mean, it's what they're doing. The and I end up having these arguments where it's like, well, Nazis are from Germany. What are you saying? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think anybody's using it literally. You're exactly like what the
Yeah, the
what that
politics.
yeah, and so I used to, and I still do, depending on what I'm talking about, throw that word around some, but I've found that when I'm talking to my friends and people that hang out on my channel and stuff, I'll use terminology like that. But when I'm talking to a broader audience or whatever, I try to avoid it just to not have to have that conversation every time. But I just stick with fascist, which I think,
Yeah.
explains it all the same. So, but most of them don't know what that means.
but it's like I actually offer mini essays, historical mini essays now on my Patreon. I've revived my Patreon, and I offer little historical mini essays. I'm working on one now about the ghettos in
Oh,
Poland,
neat.
with a focus on the Warsaw one. I am from Warsaw myself, Polish Jewish person from Warsaw. I grew up near the ghetto gate because there is still some elements of the ghetto that still stand in Warsaw, like a piece of the wall, the gate, you know.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And it's
Being from Poland, is there like a, because how it's portrayed in the U.S., like there's a real fear that Russia intends to try to go into Poland too. Is that something that is like a people in Poland feels like it's a serious risk?
oh yeah, definitely. When the war started, everybody just rushed to the bank and took out their money, for example. Like everybody was in 2022, everybody was seriously afraid of an invasion. When I went to the bank to take out some money to pay some bills, there was no money in the bank because people just rushed in and took everything that they had in their accounts out, preparing to just flee.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was,
that's great.
and I thought then, okay, that's not gonna happen, okay? And but people are really afraid, and
Mm,
it was crazy. And of course, there were a lot of refugees from Ukraine that came to Poland, and many
sure.
people hosted Ukrainian refugees in their homes. Like the meme became reality. Like there was I always heard in debates from right wing people, why don't you take those people into your home? Would you take them into your home? You like those people coming into your country? Why don't you agree? Just invite them to your home. And many people did. I had two refugees at my home, for example.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's how people should be whenever, especially whenever you have people like who are running for their literal lives to find a safe place to be. I don't. I think about like how you treat people who are at their lowest and having, struggling the most. How you treat those people is what tells a lot about who you are and how you how you view people in general. I think that, and it's really crazy to see like the Christian nationalist movement that is so anti immigration and attacking minorities and poor people and all these things. And it's like your book clearly says like to do different than this,
Yeah.
like how to treat the stranger um, and how to treat poor people, and it's completely opposite all of it. And again, it's like it's just all based in hate. I mean, they rallied up a bunch of misogynists and white supremacists and um, said things that they wanted to hear and did all the dog whistles, and they they managed to get a base that's filled with people like the Proud Boys and
Yeah.
uh, KKK and white supremacists, and just it's uh, it's awful that America has failed to being this way so largely. Like like with Kamala Harris. I mean, Kamala Harris should have been president, but I think misogyny prevented that from happening,
Yeah.
and not just on the right. Like I think it's very present on the left as well, and they it's just whenever you try to interact with people, it's like hard to have conversations with people who are so focused on those things, and there's not really anything to talk about until they can get past that. And it's like before, politics in this country was like you disagreed on some policies or whatever, and yeah, systemic racism and all that is baked into a lot of our laws, and but now it's like there has to be this hard line where it's like that's just a no deal for me. Like
Yeah.
we have nothing to talk about unless you can account for these other things first. and so it makes it hard to have lines of communication with anybody. But then again, where the base for Trump and stuff has been shrinking so much, they've become more fanatical and
Oh
louder,
yeah.
and so
And Trump is just
it's
doing worse and worse things. Oh my gosh, that's a whole topic. But I feel
yeah.
like I watched again. I did the checkup on Sargon of Akkad yesterday on stream. I think it was yesterday, and one of his arguments was he said, "Oh, you people always say that immigration is great for the economy and for the GDP and for money, it's that etc. They need to do the jobs, but they never give any other argument." Well, that's because no other arguments speaks to well, no argument speaks to these people, but especially like there are many other reasons why immigration is good, in my opinion, besides economy, besides money. Like it's a slogan at this point that the right loves to mock, but I really do think that diversity is something preferable and good. The diversity of um, culture, the diversity of well, let's begin with the fact that the right doesn't even understand what the word culture means to begin with. They believe there's those stiff fixed blocks that kind of exist that kind of punch against each other, and people don't really understand how these things function historically. People don't really understand how the movements of people work historically. People don't understand that I think it's really like there is, for example, a really robust community of Vietnamese people in Poland, and that brings with itself a lot of great food, a lot of great things that would not have been here if it were not for those people being here, you know?
Yeah. It's again, it comes down to these things of like, I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to understand other cultures and things better. Why you wouldn't want to be more diverse. The We know that diversity makes you stronger in every way. And understanding other cultures and being able to converse and empathize and all those things that come with that
Yeah.
uh, is is a good thing, and it makes you stronger. You by closing yourself off to the rest of the world because brown people bad, I mean, you miss out on so much,
Yeah.
and I mean, this is what we see going on in America right now. We have cut ties with so many places, or they've cut ties with us, because of the behavior of our executive branch, and like the we're falling behind on technology and medical research, and we've got a crazy person, running the health departments and trying to do away with vaccines. I mean, everything that they're doing uh, is hurting us in a way that you can't just replace these people and turn around and do better. Like once you fall behind on medical research and technology, you have to learn everything in between that before you catch back up, and that can take a really long time to do. And so the damage that's being done, all because you have a group of people who refuse to acknowledge diversity or culture, or that people should be treated equally under the law.
Yeah.
It's all contradictory to what their stated goals are, and because of fear mongering, they've managed to get people to vote against their own self interest.
Yeah. And also the sad part is that a lot of those people, a lot of those right wingers that talk about immigration, borders, etc., are really illiterate
Yes, yeah,
because
I mean,
uh, the whole situation with the borders, the whole situation with that I've heard Sargon of Akkad say in a video that there's the new phenomenon of mass movement of people and it's an experiment that has failed. And I say, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean a new phenomenon? That's been a thing that has been happening throughout most of history. The border control as we understand it now, that's an invention of the nation state. That started with with the rise of the nation state, and that was in the 19th century, because the state kind of asserted that a certain group of people is now the nation, and the nation has to speak a certain language, the nation has to be of a certain ethnicity, and to enforce that, of course, the nation needed to stay pure. And for the nation to stay pure, there needed to be a tight control of the border to be able to expel those who are not part of the nation and not accept into the country those as well who were not part of the nation, which is why World War One, a part of being one of the most horrible wars in history, many people don't realize was also a playfield for one of the, if not the biggest, ethnic cleansings in history, because up to that point, people basically of all different ethnicities lived all over Europe. Germans lived everywhere, Italians lived everywhere, etc. But during World War One, you had the newly formed nation states, which kind of decided, oh, okay, so we're fighting a war against Germany now, and all of you Germans are now a part of a nation state called Germany. You're German nationals. So you're probably sympathetic to the newly formed German state. So we're gonna expel you. That it's a
Yeah.
simplification, but that's basically how that went. And people don't really realize that those movements of people that they hate, they've been happening throughout history, and that the nation state basically did, in effect, erased a lot of local identities, lot of local culture. Like the big example that is always given is the fact that there were many different local versions of the French language that were just erased with the um, ascension of the nation state, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I had not really thought about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense to explain it that way. I think that you have to have, like, if you want to be a country that produces and, operates in a world economy, you have to have immigration. Like it's you have to, like, you can't just shut down immigration and kick everybody out who's an immigrant, or make them pay you $1 million and all this stuff and expect anything good to come of that. Like the again, it's the having immigration that falls, like that has a process for people to come and be in the country and be documented and here legally.
Yeah.
Uh, it's that process that needed fixed, not the not kick everybody out that's brown. That's like not the answer. That's the lashing out of idiots. It's just, again, there's no part of this where anything makes any sense in any other frame other than hate. Like it's there's not, no matter what reasons they give and all that. Like, but I mean, you with the United States, you have this, again, systemic racism and xenophobia as well. Like, our drug laws were centered around, we outlawed opium so we could kick the Chinese people out.
Yeah.
That they did a lot of stuff with marijuana to be able to prosecute and arrest black people
Yeah.
during the 30s and stuff. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, we see this going on throughout history, and even like with women, I think many people forget how long it took women to get the same rights as everybody else in this country. How far behind we were on doing that.
Yeah. A lot of people that
So
contributed to the American history were of many different countries in the world, and white nationalists in America don't really grasp that. And there's a lot of bloody history of those people. Like, do you know the history of Chinatown?
no, not really.
Well, the TLDR version is that there was a whole area in which Chinese people lived a pretty isolated life, it was basically very, it was like an Asian area when people just lived like in Asia, ate authentic Asian food, etc. And the government wanted to get rid of it, really wanted to disperse the people there because, it was, they were the undesirable, so to speak, because
Right.
And then there was this horrible, I think it was an earthquake that just leveled the place, and the government did not really send any help and thought, okay, now's our opportunity to clear this thing out, Now we can clear it out, now we can get rid of them, it'll be great. Let's make America great again, but well, way back when. And then the people there rebuilt. It was kind of an act of preservation and rebellion. People rebuilt the place and thought, okay, if we're to survive here, we have to make this into this place, this idea of how a tourist would think how a Chinese place look like, and we have to cater it to the taste of a person that will go here and have fun, and they have this ideal stereotypical vision of what a Chinese place look like, and that's basically the people that lived in that ruined place rebuilt it as the Chinatown that we know today. And it was a success because people flocked to it, and the government had no real excuse to get rid of it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of been their go-to thing in history is take the people that you want to oppress and force them into communities. We did it. We put the natives in
Reservations.
reservations, and we created red line districts to keep the poor black people there,
Yeah, and that whole
same thing with
thing
China.
from slavery to segregation to now it all kind of just it all affects the now, which people always refuse, loyal on the right, refuse to accept, refuse that these things have, like the fact that I feel like it's oh god, there's so many problems with like the education system in the US, the fact that schools and their funding is tied to
Yeah.
property and property tax, that always just leaves me dumbfounded, to be honest. Like if a school is
So-
performing not well, the logical thing would be to for a body that takes care of education to fund more money into that school to elevate it, not to say, oh, the tax is low, the school is performing bad, so the logical conclusion is to fund it less.
yeah. Yeah, well, I I go on a lot about how I think two major issues that need to be addressed are wealth inequality and education. And I think that whenever you start to fix the problems that exist there, that you end up fixing a lot of other problems as well down the chain from those, because I think that many of them are based in those problems. I think a lot of the systemic racism is also just part of the wealth inequality thing now. Like
Yeah.
it's all gotten grouped together. Now I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still racism against every group possible, but it's lumped poor people and immigrants and like you said, undesirables essentially. And the I think with education, you people understand those problems better and are more likely to come out of them. And even just fixing education will lead to at least changes in the problems with wealth inequality, because we've seen what happens over a period of time where the United States continues to just damage education, and this is across multiple administrations. It's
Oh
not just
yeah.
Republican.
Although it's
Um,
like again, I found it very interesting when the Trump administration came into power when um, there was discussion, there was a whole debate about the Ministry of Education and getting rid of it, where a bunch of people did not even know what the Ministry of Education in the US does. And many American people that I talked to did not even know what the Ministry of Education does in the US, that it does not work like the ministries of education in other countries, And Trump would often say, "Oh, all these states that are great would be great if only we get rid of the Ministry of Education. Then finally the states will be able to get rid of all the crap from their curriculums. They will be able to up their level, up their standard. The curriculums will be fixed by the states. The states will be able to take care of it." I think also mentioned funding. And I just look at it and say, wait, but that's already the case. The education is
Right.
already in the hands of the states. The curriculum is already in the hands of the states. That's not what the Ministry of Education does in the US at all.
Well, they want to do that. They want to put it in the hands of the state.
Departments, but it's,
Yeah, Department of Education. Yeah, I was following you though. They want to put it in the hands of the state because then the red states.
Yeah, but it's
can.
already it's always been already in the hands of the states. The Department of Education doesn't take care of the curriculum at all. Never did.
Well, they want to put it in the hands of the state without the guidance of the federal Department of Education.
Right, but it was guidance, but the federal Department of Education it did not create the curriculum for the states. The states created their own curriculums.
No. But the states had to be within certain curriculums to receive funding from the federal departments.
Yes, but also the majority of the funding was already also in the purview of the states, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. Most all of it is covered by the state. But by not having a Department of Education that monitors what these places are doing, you have the executive branch saying, well, you're no longer going to get funding if you don't teach the things that I want, put religion in schools and do all these things. So the red states get to introduce religion into schools, and the blue states are told, well, you're not going to get federal funding for anything. And
right, but the federal funding is basically like subsidies when the money is lacking. Like it's primarily the funding for subsidies for the poor students and for schools that were lacking money. But like the main victims of the gutting of the Department of Educations are less wealthy people, which attack the red states, ironically enough, a lot.
Well, also like doing away with the Department of Education allows them to privatize schools.
Oh yeah, that's the thing as well.
Yeah, so and we see that kind of going that way already. Like there's and most of these places that want to privatize these schools are like fundamentalist Christian organizations, and it's a lot of the things that they want to do are just disgusting to begin with. But yeah, there's our education system has been fundamentally broken for a number of years, and it's been I call it the dumbing down of America.
Also being tied to a school in your district is also kind of foreign to me. The fact that you have to go to a school in your area and you cannot just enroll to anywhere else, that's also a thing that is not a thing that is in Poland. Like in a primary school and high school, you can just enroll to, I'm not sure if that's the case for high school in the US, but primary school, you can just go and enroll wherever in Poland. You don't have to, you're not tied to a neighborhood where you live.
And now, like some schools, like in where I live in rural Kentucky, you can go to a different school district but they have to like allow you to do it. So you can't do it if like they're overcrowded or something like that. And if you go to school out of district and you get in any trouble at all, or your attendance isn't what they want it to be, they refuse you and kick you back out.
Yeah, and of course, in my mind, there should be a curriculum across the board, like a central body that would kind of just laser out the curriculum and say you cannot just say that evolution is fake or
so one of the biggest travesties as far as that stuff goes is that these homeschooling
that was the next topic that I wanted to touch upon, like that the homeschooling has to be really reined in, okay, because it is ridiculous that first of all, parents are not teachers, okay? Like there should be, even if parents were to be taking this task, they should also be under supervision of a governmental
Yeah.
body that would enforce a certain curriculum, a certain standard. And because I can understand the purpose of homeschooling. For example, if someone is born with certain health issues where they just should not, cannot be in a group, in a crowd, etc., because it would be detrimental to them. I can understand why a person from the government would be sent to the home to teach the kid, right? I think
Yeah.
I've had something that is akin to homeschooling when I was really small. It was basically I was at home, and the teachers that usually teach at school would come to me and teach me. I don't remember why that
Yeah.
was the case, but that was the case for me for a short time.
Yeah. So we've seen like corporations like AIG get heavily into homeschooling, and it's completely unregulated. So they they can include all of their creationist stuff into a homeschooling kit for parents, and
Yeah.
then and they've even said they want to get them while they're young, and I think that homeschooling, like if parents want to homeschool their kids, and like you said, there needs to be some rules about having some kind of supervision or input from somebody who knows the things that these kids need to be taught. There should be a stricter set of rules on homeschooling, of where, like, if you want to teach your kids religion and whatever, that's fine, but like they need to know these core things.
Yeah,
They
because if you're gonna get a diploma, it should, it should be a legitimate diploma, right?
Yeah. So we have uh, the GED, which is an equivalency diploma, and the what is required for that is there is that set of things that you need to know to get a GED, but it needs to be more regulated on the homeschool end of it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just tell them like, oh, this is what you need to answer to pass the test, but really the world's 6,000 years old. Like,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be able to insert religion into education in any way.
That's wild.
It's a big movement here, and
I know. There's this weird. I can understand it to some degree because of the problems that we've mentioned before, but there is this very bizarre anti-public schooling movement that I've noticed in the U.S.
anti-intellectualism in general is like a big thing in the United States. It's even in our Congress, we have the Committee on Science, Technology, and Space. I think that's the name of it. But they are climate change deniers.
Like the
They're
president, right?
yeah, and you have this committee that is supposed to make decisions about these things that denies science and is very anti-intellectualism. That's like the whole war against fact checking and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
the it's all vibes. It's not it's not based on objective facts or it's just done on feeling. I feel like that's bad, so it is.
Someone in the audience said a little of all trades said, "Yeah, homeschool really works out well. My kid is one of those rare cases. I'll be happy to hear about that case." But yeah, I like there are situations in which homeschooling I think is perfectly reasonable, but I feel like what's needed is some real supervision of it. Like
Yeah.
I'd like to make sure that certain standards of education are met, actual standards of
Yeah.
education, not just
And they should be checked in on these things, because a lot of times homeschooling is used to hide sexual abuse
right.
and physical abuse, and it's if they're going to let parents homeschool through these programs, then there should be at least some kind of oversight, and there's just not. It's just completely unregulated for the most part.
Yeah.
But
And I'm also quite suspicious of any schools run by religious organizations, especially in the
Oh
US,
yeah.
just because like I will like like Christian
Well,
universities or stuff like that.
we just covered a thing over on my channel about World Harvest Church, and they're located in Ohio, and they have an accredited school that they've put in there, and the dean of students of that school is a bishop for Rod Parsley and World Harvest Church, and the school's owned by the church, but he was dismissed for sexual misconduct on several employees in the World Harvest Network, and
Yeah.
they brought him back immediately and put him as dean of students at the school. And it's like, what are we doing? Why is this okay? And but yeah, I did a whole big thing on World Harvest Church. It's but you know, it's not just them. Right now, AIG actually they have the homeschooling stuff, but they're also building a school down where the Ark is. They're trying to have a school put in,
Yeah.
and they want to teach creationism at that school. That's the whole plan.
Yeah, which is it's just bizarre to me. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah, we did the art protest this past July, and I mean, first of all, the Kentucky taxpayers are subsidizing the Ark Encounter and AIG to do these things, and AIG is now this huge corporation with millions of dollars to play with, and so they're again they've said it out loud that they want to get them while they're young
yeah.
and indoctrinate them while they're young, and you know, because they need to do something about the numbers that are bleeding away from their extremist beliefs.
Yeah. It's insane. I actually got
Yeah,
family in Texas and Austin.
yeah,
I've got relatives in
yeah.
there. Austin is supposedly the one bastion of Texas that is less crazy.
Yeah, Austin has a lot of neat, interesting things about it, and the you know, the atheist community in Austin is growing, and there's a lot of activism that comes out of Austin and other places in Texas too. There's a lot of members of the atheist community are from Texas, and
I think there was also one bigoted trans creator that was out of Austin. I'm not sure if she still lives there, but Blair White. I'm not sure if you've heard of that content creator.
what's the name again?
Blair White.
Blair White. Blair White.
Yeah.
I don't recall now.
She's like over 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
See, now is this the
Shows.
is this the girl that has like she has a saying, she has this little quip thing that she says like over and over and over. I'm not sure.
She's a
I'm
very
not sure. I don't want-
transphobic trans person, as someone pointed out in the chat.
I'll have to look up and see if that's who that is.
I did a check on her yesterday as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to kind of keep an eye on what some of these crazy folks.
Yeah. But some of them are so silly. Some of them are so just straight up stupid that what they say when they open their mouth, you like just you know John Doyle, that creator.
No,
another crazy creator. John Doyle is another like trad family white supremacist type creator, and basically in a video of his that I watched yesterday, he said, multipolar world order, that's just communism with extra steps. And I'm just, what? What does that have to do with what?
Tell me you don't know what communism means without telling me.
Tell me you don't know what any kind of polar world order is. Okay?
Yeah.
Tell me you have no idea about IR without telling me you have no idea about IR.
Well, that's the thing is like with the anti-intellectualism, you get a lot of that because there's like they don't know what any of these things mean, and they just throw around whatever words
Yeah.
because they think they're being
Yeah.
hateful, or they think they're owning people by doing it when they're being laughed at. But it's all about vibes for them. It doesn't matter what's
Yeah.
actually true.
But John Doyle just, I think, overdid it, because the top comments under that video were, "Will you get paid for this?" It's just sad if you really get paid for saying such stuff.
Well, there, because of the rise of like X and formerly Twitter, you know, like there's a lot of this click farming and stuff that goes on just to say the most extreme absurd things.
Yeah.
And people are, you know, because people will react to it and argue with you, so they're getting the clicks and they're making money off of it. It's all part of the grift.
I'm surprised they're still there. No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, that's helpful.
It's okay. I've got a battery here. Like, if the electricity dies, I can just plug it in and we can continue. And there's no bombing tonight. I think there's like, oh, I'm gonna check real quick, okay? If there's
okay.
I've got an app that tells me where and what part of the country is under attack at a given time. So the east is always under air siren attack. There was an explosion in one city, but Kyiv is okay right now. Kyiv is calm.
Yeah.
I haven't told you what the best state was, have I?
No. What is it?
Maryland, of course.
Why Maryland?
Because because it has the biggest amount of historical buildings in the entirety of the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's counting Washington D.C. as part of Maryland, right?
No, actually, no.
Just Maryland on its own does.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about Maryland. I haven't told you this part yet, but I was a heroin addict for a number of years, and did a lot in the drug trade. And the only thing I knew about Maryland was we bought dope off some people in Baltimore. But yeah, I don't know a lot about Maryland. I've been to DC a couple times, and like I usually actually what I call DC, though, I was actually staying in Alexandria, Virginia, outside of it. But you know, that whole area up there, though, like the all the suburbs of DC around it and stuff, I've ran around in all of those. But I'm not real familiar with a lot of things in Maryland, though.
Yeah, you should go to Maryland. It has a lot of beautiful nature. You should go to Ocean City. That's a great place. You should go and explore. You should get a blue crab. You should get the blue crab cakes.
No doubt. I would love to go up into the northeastern part of the country just for the seafood. You know, Kentucky, I'll say this is Kentucky is very unique for a lot of reasons, geographically and historically, but it is an incredibly beautiful place to live, as long as you don't talk to the people. Like the people fuck it all up, but you know, the nature here and I mean, we have the largest underground cave system in the world. Mammoth Cave, 400 miles of caves.
That's cool.
There's just a lot of cool things in Kentucky and a lot of beautiful things, but it because of how awful the state's been run and stuff, a lot of that gets looked over.
Maryland has wonderful people.
No. I imagine it's probably a crowd I would fit in a lot better with.
And also it voted not for Trump.
So like where I'm at, I'm very much not the norm. So this whole area is probably like 90% Southern Baptist fundamentalists, and very, very red. It's Trump country here, and so my views aren't very popular here, to say the least.
You mentioned having problems with heroin.
Yeah. I was actively addicted to heroin for a couple decades, and
for a long time.
Overdosed multiple times. just was on the run from the police, did time in jail and prison, tried to live my life the hardest way possible for a long time. And it was actually part of my deconstruction that made me start to look at things differently, and eventually go to a medicated assisted treatment program where I got on Suboxone, and through counseling and years of counseling, eventually managed to turn things around while everybody else died around me.
From
I have more debt.
overdose?
Yeah. This area is one of the worst areas in the country for the opioid crisis. Fentanyl. Whenever fentanyl first hit around here, our death rate from overdose, or just the amount of people that died, the coroner's office reported went up 600% in a single year. We've been hit hard here, and I have more dead friends than alive ones now. And I carry around a lot of guilt and stuff over that too, because I used to sell a lot of drugs, and I helped those people become addicts, and enabled their things. And obviously, I didn't go stick the needle in their arm or make them do it or anything, but I didn't. I didn't do. I enabled it rather than doing anything to stop it. So it wasn't until like 3 years of being clean that I just woke up one morning and
3 years,
realized that my life was different. I've been clean for 10 years
10
now.
years.
But 11 years actually, I guess,
11.
by now.
Because you got assistance in your own state?
At the clinic and stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are lots of programs and stuff here to get in if you want to get help, but I mean, you have to want to go do it first, and then in the middle of that, meth, the crystal methamphetamine hit here and hard, and is still here now, and it's there's not really a treatment program for that, and so you have a lot of people who are on opioids and stuff, and also doing meth, and they're putting fentanyl in everything, and killing people left and right. We keep multiple Narcan kits here at the house, just because you never know when you're going to run into somebody overdosing, because you drive down the road and see people walking around like zombies, and it's sometimes a little post-apocalyptic here, but there's been documentaries made about the town that I live in and stuff, just how bad drugs are here. Oxycontin Express is one of them. But yeah. So yeah, I was on drugs for a long time, and got clean about 11 years ago. My girlfriend and I went through treatment together, which is odd for a couple to be together during active addiction and then also stay together after getting clean.
I've heard of a story like that. When I was small, I read a book called We Children from the Zoo Station. It's a German book about teenagers that got into drugs and then child prostitution too.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the fact that users of drugs are criminalized in the US hinders the process of seeking such help?
Oh yeah. I mean, the United States, the law enforcement in the United States has tried to arrest their way out of an addiction crisis, and putting people in jail with no help doesn't do anything for that. What it does is it gets people clean for a little while, then they go back out on the street and use again and die.
Right. Yeah.
And then we have the courts also referring people to a lot of religious-based inpatient care places, and those places will have these drug addicts come in to go through, and they even have like medicated assisted treatment programs where they're using like Suboxone or that other drug. But they what they do is, like, if they break the least little rule, if they don't show up for prayer, if the shirt's not tucked in, if if their bed's not made the right way one time, they kick them out on the street instantly. and these people go and they use and they die. And it's, you know, and I think really the government sees it as it's cheaper that way. Like that's how you fix the problem.
And I assume that the facility that helped you is a secular one, right?
My care was secular. You know, I went to a number of different places along the way, and my sister, because of my experience, actually became a Suboxone doctor while I was doing these things, and she opened a clinic in Las Vegas for a while. But I didn't go to any faith-based care places. Now, I will say this: like, whenever I first went to detox. To dry out under medical supervision. They sent me to like a sober living house that was like uber religious, man. Like it was bad. It was so I stayed there for like a day and just walked off. Like I just left, and but eventually I got into a program and got a routine, but it was like 3 years after being clean before I woke up one day and really had that epiphany of like, what am I doing with my life? You know, and realized that I would never do those things again, and that things had changed. And and also during this time, I'm like, there's a brief stint between like 2006 or 2005, whenever I got out of jail for a theft charge, and 2008-9, where I went to school and got a degree, and like I was just like binge using drugs during that time. So I could make it through. We went to school on quarters instead of semesters. So I could make it through a quarter of school and then binge for a couple weeks and then go do it again. And I managed to make, you know, like straight A's all through college. But during that time, though, I'm also like realizing that the young earth fundamentalism that I was raised in is all lie. And I'm navigating that at the time and learning about science simultaneously. So it was a time where like I eventually though like realized that the world is a far more beautiful place because of the natural things, and because there isn't, you know, some magic man in the sky controlling it all. So like that view of the world though made me, you know, have more to cherish the time that I'm here and the people that I interact with, and those things, and want to leave the world a little bit of a better place when I do go, because I have children that have to live in it then. And so it really changed my whole view of everything going through all that. But
maybe well, I guess I've got a few questions, because you were raised in a fundamentalist home.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I ask you what made you start taking heroin?
So whenever I was 11, my father passed away, and my mother kind of like lost her mind and just left. And my sister was 16 years old and I was 11, and my sister kind of took care of me, you know, as far as like whatever taking care of I needed, I guess. I was kind of like on my own. But
so you were without parents at that point?
Yeah. And so my mom would come home like once a month and stock the fridge and pay the bills, and then she would take back off and we wouldn't see her. And so, you know, it was just on us to get up and go to school and do, you know, and you know, and we did for some reason, you know, like but so during that time I really got out on my own and just did whatever I wanted. And then a few years later, my mom comes back in the picture because she's going to get in trouble unless she moves me in where she is. So she up and moves me to a different place. I came from a little tiny town where the whole school system had 300 people, and ended up going to a county school where my graduating class was 1,200. So it was a big change for me. But then, like, also, I had been used to just doing whatever I wanted without supervision, and that wasn't always great. And it led me to make some bad choices and things, and thought partying was what was most important. And when school ended, I didn't really grow up. Those things continued. I got arrested for the first time 2 weeks out of high school, and only did a little bit of time then, and then ended up doing 2 years, and then a couple years in prison, and then another couple years later, and it was just forgive the awful terms, but drugs and horrors were kind of the path that I had taken.
Yeah.
And so, and nothing against horrors. But it's just like those things, of course, are not sustainable. And eventually, you find your place. You find yourself in a dark place where, like, you've acknowledged that you're probably going to just die with a needle in your arm one day, and like, this is the life. I'm going to wake up and hustle and go shoplift, and I may go to jail, and I may, I may end up getting beat up or killed out here, or shot over here, trying to score dope or whatever, or shot by somebody trying to rob me when I was selling lots of dope. It's a stressful life to live, and it's a horrible life to live, and eventually I just couldn't do it anymore.
Right. Do you feel like through all of your experience of a user, of someone that took part in the trade, and then got out of using and the trade, do you feel like you've got an outlook on the situation, a perspective that would help others get better, easier?
Yeah, I think so. And we've done a number of talks over on my channel about addiction, and there's been other creators who have created channels that they say are inspired by things that we've talked about over on mine, and specifically about like addiction and alcoholism and things like that. And so yeah, and since then, my girlfriend and I both have tried to take part in groups and help others, and try to find information and places for people, and just work with a lot of. There was this fuck heroin march that took place, and was a whole big thing, and we were kind of involved with that, and so there's just we've tried to help where we can and things, and I'm definitely always available for anybody who's struggling with those things to talk to, and I post a lot of resources on Discord and stuff of different places where people can go to either educate themselves or find help if they need it. And if you like, even down in the description of all my videos, like I put the crisis and suicide hotline, and tell people, if you or someone else is dealing with a crisis, or feeling like you're going to harm yourself or whatever, that there's people that care about you, and to look for help. And if you have to call me, like, I'll answer your call. Like, I don't care who you are or whatever. If you need somebody to talk to, I'll talk to you if that's what it needs to be. But yeah, so the answer, yes. I try to give back a little bit because I'm lucky to have survived.
Do you feel like, maybe feel is not the right word, is helping people in the situation that you were in before part of your work, part of your channel? And
it's not something that, I think people who follow my channel know that is something that I'm very serious about and stuff, but I don't spend a lot of time talking about those things, because usually what happens is people like to hear stories about the crazy experiences and things that I had, and sometimes I feel like when I do that, I'm romanticizing some of the things I did and stuff, and that leaves me with a not so great feeling. And so I do try to help people where I can, but it's usually because the whole thing with addiction is you have to want to get to help, and so I kind of leave it for people to come to me if they want to.
What do you feel? What do you think might get people to such a place that they would want to get that help?
Well, I mean, you have to be in a really bad place. They say you have to hit rock bottom, but I mean, somewhere near it. You have to. The only way that an addict wants to go and detox and go through being sick and go through all the hell it is to get better is if they are actually sick and tired of that life and just can't do it anymore, and are in a place where no longer will family help them and enable them. No longer will they've burned all the bridges. They're struggling and at their worst, and that's when people seek help normally.
So are you doubtful that it's possible to get them to such a place before that?
I mean, they have to want it. That's the only requirement. You can't make people want to get help. You can sit and tell a drug addict like if I sit and tell drug addicts, active users, about the fentanyl came in and all this, if they're not interested in getting off of it, they're taking that and like, where'd you get this crazy fentanyl that killed people? Because that's good stuff. We want that. Like that. It's just you have to want it. There's a French guy, Gabor Mate, who does a lot of talks about the physical changes that take place in your brain as a drug addict, and why addiction is now considered to be a disease, and how you can reverse some of those, but so you have to have an understanding of what you're looking at here, and until those people are they are seeking out help, you really can't make them. And you get a lot of families who are like, oh, my brother or son or whoever is addicted to heroin or opiates, and I really want to get them in a detox and rehab. Can you help me find a good place? Like, someone will reach out to me with that, and it's like, no, like, I don't care to talk to them and try to see where they're at or whatever. But if they don't want to do that, you're just going to make the situation worse by trying to force them to do it. Like, they have to want to get clean. You getting off drugs is such a difficult thing when you're physically addicted to something like opiates, that the person has to want it. You can't just get somebody off drugs without them pursuing it, because there's a lot of work involved. And it sucks.
Yeah. Do you think that some things that have been adopted by other countries, like for example, giving people a place to use drugs safely, to have clean needles, to have access to drugs that are at least not laced with dangerous chemicals, do you feel that that would contribute to a overall better situation in the US when it comes to such issues?
I think in certain places. So I think that you have to be careful about how you execute that. But yes, I mean, I think that providing a safe place with clean utensils and drugs that aren't spiked with carfentanil or whatever, like, I think that what you find with people who are addicted is that they're often impoverished, right?
Yeah.
Because they're feeling hopeless, so they turn to drugs to not have to feel that. And among other reasons, my big thing was coping with life. Like, I would go on a wild bender every time something bad happened. But you find that whenever you give people a chance, that often they will be thankful for that and try to better themselves if given the chance to. And so I think those kind of programs, in conjunction with counseling and getting them in a normal, stable life, a structured life is, I think that those things are incredibly successful, as we see, and also saves a lot of lives.
Yeah, I gotta admit that I did not expect us to talk about the subject, but I find it interesting.
Yeah. No, so whenever I go on streams and people start, wanting to talk about my past and how I ended up where I am and stuff, it ends up coming up, and I don't run away from it in any way. Like I said, I do harbor some guilt and things because of it, but at the same time, I've tried to take all those awful experiences and leverage them to my benefit, and leverage them in a way to help other people, and to use those tools to, again, like, my ultimate goal is just, if where I can make a difference, and so I try to use those things to my benefit now whenever dealing with those things.
Do you feel like religious communities, you've touched upon it a little bit when it comes to the organizations that kick people out whenever they don't attend prayer or break certain rules, but do you think that religious organizations overall, what do you think their attitude towards people that find themselves taking drugs is?
So most faith-based care systems are, they circle around with the idea that this is like, the devil made you do it, and it's a character flaw, and you're just living in sin and things like that. So what that does, and why faith-based care is one of the most dangerous things that there is in this conversation, is because accountability is the number one thing that you have to learn as an addict to get clean. You have to learn to be accountable for the bad things you did, but also for the good things, for the milestones that you reach, for staying clean for a year or whatever. You have to put accountability in yourself for doing those things also. And often faith-based care allows them to put accountability in other places. So if they fail, it's because they didn't believe in God well enough, or because the devil made them do it. They were tempted, and they just weren't right with God at the time. And whenever you take and put that accountability somewhere else, it's just really dangerous, because you have an out whenever you screw up then. And by learning to be accountable for both the good and the bad, when you do screw up, you accept that it's your screw up, and you own it, and do what you need to do to fix it. Putting it in God, they just get to, well, when God wants to save me again, he will, and I'll just go on. And it takes all accountability out. And I think that's, for addicts, that's a really dangerous thing. Now, on a side note, also here in Kentucky, pastors can act as legal, like as counselors. So a pastor can legally be a drug counselor just because they're a pastor, with no training.
That is very
whatsoever.
bizarre. That is very bizarre, in my opinion. That should
and
be
they
not be
can use
allowed.
the title counselor.
Sorry?
They can use the title counselor as well. They don't have to have any education either.
That feels ridiculous to me.
Yes, it's bad. It's a bad thing. I've actually, one of my goals whenever I started making YouTube stuff was to eventually get to where I could make a full-length documentary about faith-based care and why it's so dangerous. I haven't amassed the equipment and things to do that yet.
The equipment, as in, you haven't bought the right equipment?
I need at least a DSLR camera and good microphones and stuff like that, because I don't want to half-ass it. I want it to be I want it to be made well, so that it's taken seriously and stuff, because I think there is a lot of things there that need to be exposed and need to be put in one place for people to understand what the problem is. Because as an atheist, people look at it and, well, you're an atheist, of course you don't like faith-based care.
Yeah.
But it's not that. It's actually killing people. The numbers from the American Society of Addiction Medicine agree that it's has a very low success rate and a very high mortality rate. So,
Have you considered organizing a crowdfunding funding campaign for the equipment that you need to make the documentary?
yeah, I mean, I have. I mean, my channel is like I got a degree in computer science coming out of college, and never really worked in that field. I mean, I did some stuff. I did some like networking for Massey Energy and some different things. But like anyway, I ended up going and working for a lawn company, and like someone else owned it, and they just kind of like financed everything. And I built this lawn company up to like 400 customers, and was like out cutting grass and doing landscaping all day and things like that, and loved doing it. But a few years ago, I ended up having to have heart surgery, and yeah, I had to have an artificial valve put in my heart, and
because
2 holes in my heart.
your veins were clogged.
Yeah, my history of drug use left me kind of not in a great set. Well, I had some problems with my heart from that, but then I ended up getting sick.
It's a
in the
bypass,
spring.
right? A bypass thing.
No. I had I had my aortic valve replaced with a mechanical valve.
Okay. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. I ended up getting sick and thought that I just had like bronchitis or whatever, because I deal with allergies in the fall, but also or in the spring. But we go out and we were like cutting a lot of ditches and things, and around here there's a lot of people, their sewer just runs into the creeks and stuff, and it's not a very cleanly thing, and out cutting grass all day and stuff. Somehow I got some kind of bacteria, and ended up doing a lot of damage, and I ended up septic for 2 months, about a month and a half, before I eventually ended up in the ER. And they listened to my heart, and they said, anyone ever told you had a heart murmur? And I was like, no. And then things started happening real fast, and I ended up a couple days later having surgery on my heart, and that kind of set me back physically quite a bit. And so,
but you're okay now, right?
Well, I'm here, you know, and my heart isn't. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it's. I'm in a better spot than I was then, but it's kind of made it to where I'm unable to do the things that I used to do, and I just get tired real easy, and I'm an extreme insomniac anyway. On top of it, so like, it's hard for me to. I can't go work a physical job or anything like that. And,
yeah.
I've actually applied for disability, and I'm waiting to for the lawyers to do whatever with that. But yeah. So once that happened, though, once I left my job, I had already created this YouTube channel, the Kentucky Atheists, and I hadn't made any content though. I created it like a year and a half before I ever made anything.
Mm-hmm.
And once I was out of work, I was like, well, let's do something here. Let's see if I can do this YouTube thing, because I want to talk about, you know, the harm and stuff that's being done by fundamentalists and televangelists and things. And so my computer science degree, a lot of the things I learned from there, I kind of put to work to start making videos and things, and that led us here. And then I found out like the group that did the Ark Encounter protest down in Williamstown, Kentucky, that they weren't going to do it anymore till the 10th year, because once COVID came and they kind of got out of doing it, they didn't want to go back to it till the 10th year. And I was like, well, can I use some of your stuff that you used to put this thing on and organize it myself and do it? Because I think it needs to continue to happen. And so I worked with Tri-State Freethinkers and then some of my friends from the atheist community to put together and organize and host the Ark Encounter protest last year, which was awesome. A lot of fun, learned a lot of things, and got to meet and hang out with a lot of friends. And so, yeah, it all ties in together, I guess. You know, but
that's good. I'm happy to know that you are doing better.
Yeah, like even at the Ark protest, it was incredibly hot, and I ended up getting overheated and having to like go chill for a while and then come back and tear down all that stuff and take it back to where it belonged and everything. But like the I had a lot of help from people,
Right.
though. I didn't do it on my own by any means. It was just an idea that started with Jess and I working on it. Jess from How to Roll an Asteroid, a good friend of mine. We started working on it and stuff, and then we started just sending emails to people saying, "Hey, will you come speak at this event?" And a lot of people said yes, and so we went from there. And then we ended up the channel Pangburn ended up providing a lot of the funding and stuff. We ended up putting a lot of people up in Airbnbs that couldn't afford lodging and stuff, or that lodging at least was one of the things keeping them from wanting to do it. So we ended up putting up as many people as we could in Airbnbs and had a good time, man. It was a blast. It was yeah.
We're going to talk about events a little bit, but someone from the audience said, a little of all trades said, I'll happily help in any way possible with making that documentary.
Oh, yeah. Lil, that's my co-host on Politicality over on my channel.
Oh, that's the history expert?
Yes. That's her.
Do they want to join our call?
She can if she wants. I don't care.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me regarding what I do here in Ukraine?
Yeah. First of all, like, let me just say, like, I think that it's awesome that you cover that stuff, given what's going on, and it's I mean, the situation is what it is, so you do what you got to do. But I think it's commendable to be sharing with other people, what you see and what's going on and things. But I think that I think the big question that I have would be, do you see, I know what the governments have to say about it, like what like what Zelensky has to say and things, but from what the U.S. is doing to Ukraine by trying to, just do what Putin wants and messing around with funding back and forth and stuff, do you see, like, on the ground in real time the effect those things are having? Like, do you see it, or is it that more like a government thing?
As in, do I see the effects of Putin's war in Ukraine?
No. Do you see the effects of the U.S.? Because what the U.S. has done is, like, they'll fund things for a minute and then they'll pull funding, and then and it's caused Ukraine to go without certain weapons and things to help prevent some of these things from hitting their targets and stuff in Kiev and other places. And I just wondered if you see a difference on the ground there as a civilian whenever those things are going on. Like, do you see, like, there's more attacks whenever the U.S. is doing stupid stuff? And
oh yeah, there's been a ton more attacks. Certainly after Trump has gotten into office, a lot more. 2024 was much safer in Kyiv than it was 2025, and now a lot more people, a lot more civilians have died. There's been a lot more attack on this city, and it's 100%. That's
how is the infrastructure in that area, like, as far as people having electricity and heat and things?
Well, there are blackouts several times per day. People have problems with heating now. About, as far as I know, 60% of electricity capability has been knocked down by the Russians. So I'm surprised we're having electricity for this long. I'm expecting it to go out any time now, actually. I am expecting if it suddenly cuts off, then it means that I have to go and plug the thing to the battery and set things up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the situation. And of course, many people have been very, very unhappy with Trump's policy, understandably so, considering that he basically has sold Ukraine out. He's basically more an ally to Russia than to Ukraine.
Right. Well, he says, Ukraine needs to hurry and come to the table or whatever, but Russia isn't offering anything. Like, it's there is no compromise here. It's it's Russia wants all these things and nothing for Ukraine, and they want to be able to just take Ukraine, and
Yeah.
Trump is helping them to
Achieve that. Yeah.
achieve that. And I think that we see here in the U.S. we see that Trump every time he talks about Putin, he glazes over and is just like he's just always kissing Putin's ass. And a lot of people say that like Trump is a puppet for Putin, and I don't know that he's a puppet for Putin. I think Putin just knows how to manipulate Trump. But
Yeah.
the so how often are you just like doing your thing and there's air raid sirens coming and stuff? How, like, is that just a normal day?
Yeah, it's a normal day. There's usually explosions here because there are a few anti-air teams here in the direct neighborhood. But yeah, that's based that. Yeah. It's been quiet lately, but it's not an unusual occurrence for like a siren to just go off and some drones to. There's been a moment when I've been in the corridor waiting for the alarm to stop, and I've been thinking to myself, Kiev is safe. Is anything actually gonna happen? I keep going to the corridor, from the corridor to the corridor. The air siren keeps coming off and on. And I don't know, it feels like Kiev is such a safe city. It has the best anti-air. I don't think is anything actually gonna happen here? It wasn't complaining. It's like, am I just, am I just going to the corridor for no reason? I feel like, if anything, Kiev is pretty secure. And then seconds later, as if karma was hitting me, I heard a missile fly overhead and it hit the children's cancer hospital.
Wow. Yeah, and I imagine like you, as often as that's going on, you're like, oh well, here we go another time.
Oh yeah, I usually sleep through the attacks, even when the building's shaking or there are loud explosions.
Wow, that's wild. But so like you have a centralized place where people go like out in the corridor of your building to try and.
Oh no, I go to the corridor of the apartment.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, because like those sirens are going off and what's going on. So there's like, it's always in the back of your head that like, oh, well, this could be,
Yeah, it could hit me and
I'm in the corridor.
Yeah, it could hit me and it probably would kill me. But because I've the same day that the children's hospital was hit, an apartment building was hit as well, and a lot of people died. The separation, usually the ground rule is that you need a separation of 2 walls so that you but that didn't do anything for those people. There's a lot of people died in that attack. A missile hit the presidential building. I've actually interviewed people that survived that attack, and quite a lot of children died in attack as well. Quite a few people that were refugees from other more dangerous places from the eastern parts of Ukraine that came to Kiev thinking they would be safer here died in that particular attack.
Yeah. The you see a lot of you don't see Russian troops coming that far into Ukraine now, right? Like there are
people there are other people that like I don't really have the military accreditation to be able to go to certain areas. I would like to get one, but it's not always that easy. But there are other people that do, even streamers that do journalism and embed with the Ukrainian armed forces.
Yeah, I've watched a few of those channels actually.
Oh, can you name any of them?
No, I can't. But I've watched where they've had like people who stream and like show like different things they're doing with drones and like there'll be like a Ukrainian strike group or whatever bunkered down somewhere, and they've got someone there that's like recording things, and And then I've also seen like a lot of people who stream and talk about what's going on in Ukraine who are shut down. They're in Russia and shut down by Putin for doing it. And,
Well, they're American journalists that go to Ukraine and create documentaries.
yeah, I've seen a few things from American journal. I mean, of course, I've seen like news stuff from journalists, but like as far as like documentaries, I've seen a couple things. The most of what the information that I get is from taking the reporting from multiple different media sources, mostly independent media, but and then being able to kind of figure out what the story is based on that. But
oh yeah, Anna from do you know Ukrainian Anna?
No.
She's a person from Kharkiv. I've met her, and when I went to Kharkiv, she's really nice. She started recently with an American person media thing, reporting on the Ukrainian situation.
Maybe I mean, so
Anastasia
because
from Kharkiv.
Well, because I do a lot of things, I'm always looking at political things and stuff. I'll come across videos and be watching them, to better understand, what's going on when we do talk about this stuff and what's going on. But as far as like, I'm just not as well versed on the things that are going on, on the ground with the civilians in Ukraine as maybe I should be. I see a lot of the bigger picture, from like, here's what the military's doing, here these attacks took place, and this is how the war's going on the Eastern Front. Like, I'll hear a lot of that stuff that makes its way through the media, but not as familiar with the actual channels that cover those things.
Oh, it would be nice. It would be nice. Some Titan Uranus. You know Titan Uranus? You know Titan Uranus.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Titan Uranus.
Oh, yeah, Titan. Yeah. No, Titan.
Titan Uranus.
That's my. So you tricked me because I'm a redneck there and threw an accent in there, and I was like, thinking you had some cultural name here, and but yeah, no, Titan's a mod over on my Discord server.
Yeah, Titan said that there's a way to reach operator Starsky. I would be great if I could talk to operator Starsky, but that's neither here nor there. Like, you have Ukrainian Anna, you have operator Starsky that is.
I've seen Starsky. I've seen that.
You have a person called Rick the Ukrainian.
Don't know that one.
You got Rick the Ukrainian. You've got Mercado Media. He used to donate trucks to. He used to kind of organize trucks for Ukraine.
That name sounds familiar, but I can't place it now. See, that's like a lot of the people that are covering this on YouTube, I'm just not familiar with, because it's like you get those bigger streams, which are often
Titan should get me a conversation with Starsky and with Mercado Media.
Hey, Titan's the one to
Uranus. We're doing networking. And also you have Dylan Burns doing documentaries. That's a streamer as well.
Yeah. As far as the internet in Ukraine, are you like on Starlink or
Oh no, I got right now I've got the internet that is kind of just this apartment's internet.
Right on. Well, glad that that's.
So that works when I connect the modem to the battery.
Yeah. That's it's just an experience that I'm not familiar with, like it's hard to imagine being in that sort of situation.
My focus is on doing reporting around children children that live in Ukraine, that suffer from the bombing, that suffer from education gaps due to the war that started during COVID and continued throughout the war. Kidnapped children by the Russian Federation, which constitutes genocide, and children that live in occupied territories that are rescued from those occupied territories.
So is it still an ongoing thing that they're kidnapping children?
Oh yeah, of course.
Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Militarization of children. That's a thing. Russia militarizes Russian children as well as Ukrainian children. The sexual abuse of children. There's a lot. There's a lot.
How young are some of the Ukrainians that are going out to fight? Are there
not many children that are going out to fight. When I say militarization, I mean that the Russian Federation basically grooms children into becoming soldiers.
Oh no, yeah, no, I understand that. I didn't know if on the Ukraine side, what is like the age that like the youngest edges of those going out to fight?
Oh no, actually Ukraine tries to keep that as high as possible for many different reasons. Among them, definitely the demographic crisis in Ukraine plays a part, but I think it's now was between 21 and 25 the age of people. Like Ukraine fights very hard not to conscript people that are 18.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing. I just know that
the United States tried to pressure Ukraine into just lowering the age of conscription to 18.
Of course they did. No, I think that's a good thing. I just wasn't. I know that it's the Ukrainian people who are doing a lot of the fighting and joining the military to do it. And I just given the situation, I didn't know if
there are no child soldiers in Ukraine.
Well, that's good. Are there still a lot of people constantly fleeing Ukraine, or has that kind of calmed down? Or
there's people fleeing Ukraine, yeah. There's people coming back.
Well, it's from my point of view, and especially someone who covers a lot of political things. I think that this has the United States has helped at certain points, and definitely during the last administration was more about it. But to see how, and this is carried on to other allies as well, but Ukraine is supposed to be our ally, and we should be doing whatever's necessary to help Ukraine fend off what is to fend off what's going on, because it's breaks every international law and everything that there is, and trying to just go and take over a country, and here we've said that we're Ukraine's ally and set by and try to force Ukraine into agreements that favor Putin and Russia, and it's I don't think that the people in the United States that have done this to Ukraine and treated Zelensky so poorly when he comes here and things, I don't think that history will be kind to them. But I guess that does little for the now, but
yeah, I agree. Europe has also dropped the ball. It's like a whole topic that I like to rant about, how the West, the so-called collective West, has just failed Ukraine across the board. Horrible, very drip like aid. That is exactly why we are where we are. Russia has been, it's very embarrassing, and it's very pathetic that Russia has had better allies, still has better allies effectively than Ukraine. It's very sad that North Korea, Iran, China, even though not as openly as those two countries, are proving to be better allies to Russia than the West for Ukraine. There's a lot of reasons for that. Among them is the perpetual fear of nuclear escalation, the nuclear escalation ladder that the West has just gifted the advantage on that ladder to Russia for completely no reason. That has been a thing for the longest time. Should we give Ukraine this type of weapon? Should we not give them this weapon? Will it be escalation? It feels like Russia has been given for years now carte blanche to endlessly escalate and not worry about anything. And on the other hand, the West has been really careful not to cause any escalation, not to give Ukraine this, not to give Ukraine that. And that has been a really bad situation on its own. And then Trump won the second election, and things have gotten even worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
No, and I agree with you. I think that I honestly think that as far as the Trump administration and what's going on now is that their whole goal is to weaken Ukraine because Trump's only answer to how the war in Ukraine may end is whatever Putin wants.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see him. It's not like it's a secret. You can see that he's actively trying to do that, and I think that he promises things and break promises, and then acts like he's going to work with these other European countries, and then backs out. I think that he does all those things just to cause chaos to make Ukraine weaker, because that's what Putin wants.
I think he wants to do business with Russia first and foremost. He wants the normalization of relationship with Russia, and the war is kind of an obstacle for him to achieve that goal.
Yeah, how in the world do you start something called the Board of Peace and offer Vladimir Putin a place on anything named that? Like, it's insanity that's a thing.
Yeah, that's why almost no countries want to join that Board of Peace.
Yeah, no, I mean it's everything Trump touches is falls apart. Their will to do either evil is always outdone by their sheer incompetence to do anything successfully. Like, at least there's that, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a horrible thing to have to say the silver lining is, well, at least they're stupid and they have all this power. Yeah, that kind of seems to be the takeaway that I get from it week to week, covering things, is that they want to do all these awful things, and it's just their stupidity that prevents them from being so much worse than they already are. And I mean, I hope for Ukraine's sake that that we actually do have these midterm elections, and that
I definitely have no hopes for the peace talks that are happening right now.
No.
And
No.
the only way for Russia to seriously negotiate is for Russia to be forced to seriously negotiate. And I feel like the fact that Ukraine has been gaining back a lot of territory lately is a step in the good direction. But Russia has to be forced out of the perceived notion that it is dominating, winning, and that it does not have to treat any negotiations seriously, which is what is happening now. Russia, I think, said it.
Russia doesn't want to negotiate. They want to have control of Ukraine. I don't even think that because there's like, well, Russia wants to make a deal is the thing that Trump keeps repeating. But I don't think Russia wants anything to do with making a deal. I think Russia wants to make Ukraine submit so that he can take it.
I think that's the deal that Russia wants to make.
Yeah, right. Give us everything, and that's the deal that we want for peace.
Yeah,
and,
that is why Russia is so insistent on Ukraine moving its forces out of the entirety of the Donbass, because this is where all the most fortified areas of Ukraine are right now, and that would open the door to a further invasion down the line.
Yeah, and there has to be some sort of deal where Russia not only leaves Ukraine now, but keeps them out of Ukraine.
Yeah, and Russia does not really want to agree to any realistic security guarantees for Ukraine, which already should tell us everything that we need to know. I mean, I'm Polish. Right. I know how Russia operates, okay?
Yeah.
Like, we've been
and
saying all that Poland, stuff. Yeah.
You don't have the greatest neighbors there in Poland either, so... and, there's been talk about Russia wanting to put troops on the border of Poland and go into Poland, and um, there's of course all these things of like NATO deters that, and
I've always been
but
skeptical of that. From the beginning in
yeah,
2022, I've been very skeptical. People have been telling me, no, NATO, it's Poland's safe. And at the beginning of the invasion, I've asked a few people, okay, if let's say it came to that Ukraine would lose and Poland would be attacked, do you really feel like the West, like Western Europe and the West, like NATO would mobilize Article 5 for Poland? Do you really, like, I feel like the West would kind of say, you know what? Poland used to be part of the Soviet sphere, used to be part of that
yeah,
bloc. Why
yeah.
risk nuclear
Which countries would?
escalation when we can give that one up and have peace and security and stability on the continent?
Yeah, well, I think that's what, like, especially the United States fears the most, is because whenever, if those things do take place, like, which countries are going to actually step up and do what they said they would do, and which ones aren't. And the United States has kind of made it clear that, even though NATO has helped them in the past, that the United States won't actually go and fight for another country. I don't think that they will. Not under our current leadership, anyway.
Yeah, and Donald Trump has basically almost single-handedly dismantled NATO recently over Greenland. So
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that was
if
the biggest thing.
if a NATO ally attacks another NATO ally, then what is even the point of NATO at that point, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It no longer functions then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what he's wanted. He's talked about since his first term wanting to get out of NATO, and how he doesn't care for NATO and all those things. But I mean, I guess when you're a Putin bootlicker, you can't.
Or he also doesn't care for international law and all that.
No.
He is
No, not at all.
very much trying to create a world order in which the big countries have their own spheres of influence and lord over them, and might makes right politics in international relations.
Yeah, I think that's very much what this, like, what's going on now, and they say that, oh well, we should control the Western Hemisphere, and it gives to other countries like China, who's trying to go into Taiwan, it gives them almost permission to do that. Of, well, we're the bigger, stronger country. We're allowed to go in and tell these smaller countries what to do by force if necessary.
Also, Trump basically thinks that countries run like companies. When he was discussing the quick invasion of Venezuela, he actually misspoke quite a few times and said company instead of almost said company instead of country when referring to Venezuela.
That's not surprising.
So he started saying company, but corrected himself to country quite a few times.
Well, you're lucky he stayed awake long enough to say any of it. I mean, I hope that, that's what the one thing is. First, we have to change some of the people who are running this country, and
hopefully
the fact now that it's became very apparent that we have like a cabal of human trafficking pedophiles that are running everything, not just here but in other places too. It gives a pretty bleak outlook on the damage that our allies and other places suffer because the United States decided to elect an idiot to the presidency.
Unfortunate, a very dangerous person. But we have to deal with the cards that we've been given, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to play the game best you can. It's just unfortunate that this is how, again, we treated our allies. That I think that most of these countries would have came to the aid of the United States on at the drop of a dime, if need be. But when it's the other way around, the United States wants to try and help Putin achieve his goals, which is just crazy to even say. The United States has like a big history with like not particularly caring for the Russians, like a Cold War that went on for quite a while, and so it's really a shock to a lot of people. But then you have like the Trump sycophants who for the most part are ignorant to anything to do with foreign policy or allies or anything, and they are supporting him blindly like he's doing something good, and say stupid things about why should we help Ukraine and all this stuff. And it's like, that's what it is when someone is officially your ally. That's what it means. Like you come
the
to their
Budapest
aid.
Memorandum.
Yeah.
After Ukraine has given up nuclear weapons, and the United States, Great Britain, and Russia have promised to respect Ukraine's border integrity.
Yeah. I mean, to think that it's okay to go into a sovereign nation and just take it, because he has, these delusions of the old KGB and USSR days, like, it's not pleasant to watch from here, and it's one of the sources of a lot of frustration here to see how Ukraine's being done. And then we have also like the United States like funding a genocidal maniac in Israel. And, it's and for me, like, a lot of times, because I talk about the awful things that Trump and MAGA does or whatever, they'll be like, you're a Democrat and all these things, and I don't claim to be a Democrat. I think that the values that the Democratic Party has aligns better with my values, but closer anyway. But whether it's a Democrat or a Republican that is okay with letting these things continue to go on as they have, they can go too. They can go right with Trump. That I don't have any favoritism to the Democrats, other than
well, damn, you almost said they can go all to hell. As an atheist, you almost said they can go all to hell. What kind of are you? Maybe you're secretly a believer. Maybe you actually do believe in God. So evidence of God is that you just almost said they can all go to hell, which means that in your heart of hearts, in your DNA prescribed to you by God, you believe in hell because you know it's real. Yeah.
I've had that one a few times.
You have?
Yeah, you don't. There's no such thing as an atheist. You just hate God and want to live in sin, and you actually know that the God of the Bible is real and all that.
It's like that. It's like that old movie, God is Not Dead.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, why do you hate God? He took everything from me. Yeah, I know that movie. There's been a bunch of them too.
How can you? So if you believe that God took everything from you, how do you actually believe the God as defined? Like that's because that seems like you don't actually believe in God. You just have, again, I think it's an accountability thing where you're just like looking for somebody to point to and blame. And I think that's what ultimately, religion is an answer for a lot of people to what happens when we die.
The essential dread of death.
And so, whenever people come to me with, I usually just laugh. But like, if you want to sit and tell me what I believe, and you're gonna tell me that I actually believe in things that I'm sitting here plainly telling you I don't, then like, what's the point in having a conversation? Because you've already decided what my position is, and that you know me better than I know me. So like,
God knows you best.
Right. Because he's always watching.
I don't know you. God knows you. God knows all your dirty thoughts. Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of atheists making the argument about the problem of deception?
No. I heard the argument about free will.
Okay, so free will play into this, and so does the problem of evil. But so essentially, it goes like this: that when if I'm going to give the presuppositionalists what they want and agree that okay, it's possible that gods exist and the supernatural's real and God and Satan and all those people, if I give you that all those things are real, whenever God first put Adam and Eve in the garden, he created deception, right? Whether you think it was God that deceived them or the serpent, deception was created at that point. Man was created with the ability to be deceived, which is quite a questionable act for an all-loving God. But anyway, you go on after that. This ability to be deceived is the foundation for it, though. Later on in the Old Testament, what eventually gets referred to as Satan or the devil is he's called the father of lies, who prowls like a lion and is able to masquerade as an angel of light and deceive even the elect is the wording used. So what you do with this is how are we as humans to be able to determine if we're being deceived by a being that is capable of masquerading as God or Jesus or an angel of light? How are we to be able to determine that we're not being deceived if they can deceive even the elect? Like, the humans obviously aren't capable of doing that. Even in like the New Testament, where Jesus tells the people, "How do you know that I am who I say I am? You can test me." Tell me how humans would do that, because they're again, if the devil can masquerade as Jesus if he wanted to, then how do you know that that's not what happened? And whenever you then go back and also about the whole lion thing, how the devil's described as a lion in Revelation, that's how God's described in the exact same words.
Right.
So how do we know that Yahweh isn't actually the devil and that you're being deceived and that the Bible and all those things aren't actually the work of the devil? And again, this is to give the presuppositionalists, this is to fuck with them, essentially, is what this is about. Because they have no way to determine that they're not deceived. And in fact, whenever you look at all the evil acts that God does throughout the Old Testament and the slavery and the killing children and the killing everyone around them, you could make an argument better that God, Yahweh, is actually the devil and that is the bad guy.
Right.
That Yahweh is the bad guy and Lucifer may actually be the good guy. Lucifer never kills anyone. The Satan that doesn't have a body count, or I think there's one that they try to attribute to it. But even whenever God is allowing Satan to tempt Job, or the devil, however you want to word that, but allowing to do all these awful things to Job, like. Is that what a loving God does? I mean, it sounds to me more like you're being deceived into believing that, and that. So then with that, whenever you talk about the problem of evil, of why there is evil and suffering and all these things, that explains that, because Yahweh is actually the bad guy. Right. Whenever you go back and talk about what was the one you mentioned? Well, there's also like free will, yeah.
Yeah, the free will argument is free will argument is a little bit simpler.
Right, yeah. Well, see, I use all those in conjunction with this. So free will, like whenever we look at what's supposed to be free will, it's often like the argument, well, God doesn't reveal himself because it would take away free will. But God reveals himself over and over throughout the Bible. So
no. The argument that I'm talking about is a bit simpler than that.
Oh, okay.
The argument is, okay, if God exists outside of time, right? Because he's all-knowing, he's omnipotent, omnipresent, and exists outside of human time, right?
Yeah.
So basically, from the perspective of God, the past, present, and future already happened, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
everything is almost static. So from the perspective of God, all the people that are going to hell are already in hell. So
Yeah, it's already.
how does that
well,
leave
God did
any
that.
so how does that leave any space for free will if that already
Well,
happened? So
God says
either
that.
God is all knowing and already knows in advance from the moment of a person's birth that this person is going to hell. They
Yeah.
are already in hell. Okay.
Well,
Or God is not
God
all
God
knowing.
God says in the Bible that it's already written.
Yeah.
Those who will enter the kingdom of heaven and those that will be cast in the lake of
So
fire.
how does that leave
So
any room for
well,
free
right,
will?
but that's again, this leads back to deception, right? Like you're told this thing free will, but how, even if an all-knowing being exists anywhere, whether it's outside of our universe, which is a silly thing to say, but even if I give you that stuff, like if we say that an all-knowing being exists, then if he already knows what's going to happen, then could you have done it any other way? And the answer is no.
Yeah,
So there's no
exactly.
such thing as free will. It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Under their belief. Now, there can be like an argument for free will that I've heard before that has to do with like quantum mechanics and stuff. But like,
Quantum
I view it as
mechanics.
deterministic, right? Because of superposition, they say that, like, because there's the probability of these atoms turning up in different places initially, that you don't actually know. You have an idea of where they're going to show up, but you don't really know. So it allows for there to be true randomness
Yeah, but God
from the.
knows.
Well, I mean, it's too complex because of the three body problem. It's too complex for you to figure out anyway. But
For me,
like
but it
the
isn't too complex for God because God is all knowing.
well, no, I mean, once you introduce magic into the conversation, though, like that, I mean, you can do that with anything. Like every contradiction about God, then you can just say miracle magic. Like it's. I have that answer. So, but yeah, I mean, so that little. So I've dealt with a
Actually,
lot of
magic
creationists.
has usually its limits, okay? Magic usually has limits.
Yeah, yeah, but we're talking about the all powerful God, so it doesn't. And if we want to define a God as all powerful, all knowing, and all loving, the triomni God, that God cannot have agency. You cannot be all knowing and have agency. There's no way, because it's already decided. You don't. God has no choice in things, has no power if God is in fact all knowing, because God isn't the one doing these things. They're already happening, and God is has no power to change them at all.
I mean,
If he does,
he sort of does because he exists outside of time. So all time is basically a plaything that you can just do away with and just start anew. Like in that comic book that I read as a kid. Or
yeah.
another
So
age
outside of
inappropriate
time,
comic that I read as a kid.
so outside of space and time, but all powerful and able to interact with space and time,
Yeah.
but leave no evidence of that interaction.
The evidence is all around us. Don't you know that the
Oh yeah.
banana fits
Did you see those
perfectly in
trees?
don't you know that the banana fits perfectly in your hand? That's a
That's
callback
one of the
too.
first videos I did was where Ray Comfort talks about the banana.
Yeah.
It's one of the very first things I covered on my channel. But yeah, and I hate to go, but I'm gonna have to start wrapping this up on my
Okay.
end.
All right. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you
but
for agreeing to talk to me. And maybe we can have another talk with Little of All Trades.
yeah, no, I would love to have you come over and be on our show one day and talk to us and tell us a bit about your experiences and things, and that I had a wonderful time talking to you, and I knew whenever because Titan's behind all this, right? So yeah. So whenever I first talked to you, and then we messaged back and forth for a little bit there, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, the good call, Titan, because this is exactly who I want to speak to and things, and so. Yeah, it's been my honor getting to meet you and talk to you, and Just I have a lot of respect for what you do. Just so you know,
Thank you very much.
even if I'm not that knowledgeable about it.
Yeah, a lot of
But
knowledge in many fields, I think.
yeah, I try to do my best.
We all do.
But yeah, I really do appreciate you having me on, and I hope we can do more in the future.
Thank you.
And yeah, but I will. I'll try to. We'll talk later and try to figure out maybe a time that we can get together and you can come over and talk to Lil and I. And if it happens, because right now we stream on Thursday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that time probably isn't great where you're at. So if we need to adjust that or whatever, I'm completely flexible on doing whatever it is we need to do to make it happen. So yeah, but we'll work all that out. Yeah, but thanks for having me on, and thanks for trying to tell me that I actually believe in God, because it's been a while since I heard that one.
Of course. It's like it's the truth. Okay, we all secret Christians, even if we're Jewish.
Yeah, right. Are you familiar with many Messianic Jews? Have you encountered that?
Christian Jews?
Essentially, yeah.
I've heard of that. It's bizarre, but
yeah, there's some of that here. It's interesting. But yeah. Anyway, before we go on another tangent, there. Yeah, I guess I'll just drop out here, and you can continue doing your thing.
I'm probably gonna end it here and
okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. So thanks, and have a great one. I'll be in contact.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.